Hi guys, welcome back to the Empowered Empath. For those of you who follow my channel, you probably know it's been a very long time since I've posted a video, but I am back, and I'm back with a controversial topic. So today I wanted to talk about religion versus spirituality. Very often people who go through a spiritual awakening discover they have some feelings about religion, sometimes not the most charitable feelings about religion. So if you've been feeling resentment towards religion or judgment towards religion, those who follow religions, or in particular those who preach religions, this video is for you. I'm going to talk about why this arises, why this comes up in people, and also how to find peace around it. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking about religion versus spirituality. What's the difference? Is there a difference? Is one better than the other? And why, during spiritual awakening, do so many people experience feelings of anger and resentment and judgment towards religion, those who follow religions, or those who preach religions? So first and foremost, I want to start out with the statement that religion is like a roadmap for how to be spiritual. That's all religion is. Religion and spirituality are the same thing. The whole point of religion is to be spiritual, to have an understanding or a structure for how to have a spiritual expression. For many people, it doesn't come naturally. For many people, they resonate with religion because the concept of a religion is to give somebody rituals, words, and expressions to connect with the divine. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some people resonate with one roadmap, some people resonate with another, and some people want to make their own. All of that is valid. All of that is okay. Now, where religion crosses the line is when we're excluding people, we're harming people. That's where I would take issue and say, I'm not sure that that's even religion anymore at that point. Religion is about a relationship with the divine, period. Spirituality is about a relationship with the divine, period. Now, how you interpret the divine, that's up to you. That's up to each individual person and what resonates with them. And it's not fair for me to say it's wrong for you to receive God in a particular way, or it's wrong for you to receive universal energies or source or collective consciousness, however you perceive God. In my case, I feel God as an emanation. I feel it's probably most aligned with Hermetic wisdom that they see God as simply being an energetic emanation that is through all things. It is literally the fabric of creation. Now that may totally misalign with somebody else. And there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't invalidate my belief and it doesn't invalidate their belief. How we perceive the universe is somewhat subjective. We all have our own subjective reality, our own individual reality, and then we are also part of collective consciousness. But our perceptions are very unique, and that is part of our magic. That's part of our unique resonance that we bring here with us. But the point of what I'm saying is that religion is just as valid as spirituality in its goal to help someone have that relationship with themselves, with the divine. So it's not necessarily fair to judge. The other piece of that is that judgment comes from an ego place. So if you find yourself judging other people and judging religions, that's not coming from your heart-centered space of collective consciousness or source knowledge. That's coming from your ego. That's coming from conditioning, and that's coming from probably a trigger around religion. And a lot of people get triggered around religions because during spiritual awakening, the whole thing is thinking for yourself. It's like coming out of the haze and the fog and recognizing that you've kind of maybe been accepting things that aren't even true, or things that you've been taught aren't necessarily accurate. And so you're looking at things with critical eyes, and you're doing your own critical thinking, and then you look at someone who is following a religion, you think blindly, and you judge them as not having that critical thinking or as being less than. If you're judging anyone in that sense, that is not a spiritual exercise. That is an ego exercise. You're basically saying, I'm more spiritual than them. I'm more spiritual than you. I understand the universe better than you. It's super judgy. It's really kind of icky. Where does that come? Why does that matter? Like, why are you measuring? Why are you comparing? And that is the other piece of this is, are you comparing yourself to the other person, or are you comparing the other person to you? Are you measuring them based on your own gauge, on your own experience? Because that's not really fair either. And like I say, it's a sneaky ego trap. These things come up all over the place, and so it's really natural. And if that's something that you've caught yourself doing, I'm going to say here, don't judge yourself either. And I wouldn't judge you for doing it. It happens. But if you can recognize the behavior, then it's a good trigger for you to work through. Ultimately, we are all spiritual beings, and we are all equally spiritual beings. Even someone who has literally zero spiritual expression, and you might look at them and think that they are the least spiritual person in the world, they are equally spiritual as you or me or anybody else. We are literally energy beings in a physical body. So it's not reasonable to say you're more spiritual than anybody else. You may have explored your spiritual expression more than another person, but that in itself doesn't make you better anyway. That person may be better than you at all sorts of other things. Maybe that's not their path in this lifetime, and that's okay. That's valid. Really, really encourage you to look at any of that judgment and just go inward anytime you catch yourself doing it, because that's the only direction where you're going to get the growth from it. The other thing to remember is that human beings are by nature flawed. None of us is perfect. And so as religion is interpreted by human beings, of course, it's going to be flawed. And it's going to be colored by each individual's perspectives and ideas. And some people are going to be more moderate, and some people are going to be more fanatic. And that's just the natural range of humanity. And so, of course, we're going to see that expression in religion. It's important to just foster an open heart around these things and to accept people at the level of consciousness that they're at, and accept people's journey as valid, even if it's very different from your own. To overcome these feelings of resentment and judgment and anger and how do you do it? First thing you have to do is identify the trigger. If you understand why you're feeling a certain way or where those feelings arise from, then you can actually do something with those feelings, and you can be constructive about them rather than just experiencing those feelings and those thoughts. You have to ask yourself some really tough questions. 1, why am I triggered by religion, the beliefs, people, and religious leaders? And really get specific about that. Which beliefs, which people, and why? Keep asking that question why until you get to the root. Number 2, what makes you angry about religion? Get specific here too. Number 3, what judgments do you hold against religion or religious people or leaders? And further to that, what do those judgments tell you about yourself? Number 4, do any of these things affect me personally? Sometimes people may be frustrated by things like having to swear on a Bible, for instance. What would it take for you to be okay with these things? And how could you find compassion instead of judgment? Also ask yourself, which perspectives are not serving you? And where are you fostering resentment? How could you shift that perspective? What would it take for you to shift out of that resentment and into compassion? Very often, simply the light of our self-awareness can be incredibly healing, and sometimes just making yourself aware of the trigger, why it is, and getting really honest with yourself about it can help you release the trigger, and you will find that you just naturally find you have compassion, you have a more expansive view, and you don't feel this separation and you don't feel this judgment towards other people anymore. And I really hope that this video can help you get there. So do that self-reflection, and chances are I'm going to list a few things that you may find you discover in doing that self-reflection. Very often people are triggered by religion for the following reasons. Religion has been used as a means of control for centuries and has been used to quote unquote brainwash people into essentially submission. Religion has also been used as a justification for countless wars and atrocities. You may see religion as being used as a means of oppression and suppression. You may also have identified that religion is a major source of shame for our humanness, especially for women, and many aspects of our womanhood: menstruation, sexuality, even the pain we feel in childbirth. There's shame associated with that in some religions. Religion as intolerant of different lifestyles or choices that are not supported by that particular religion. For example, same-sex relationships. And further to that, the expectation that the world should conform to that particular religion's beliefs. So an example of this would be like prohibiting same-sex marriage. Religion is often used as a means to acquire incredible wealth. You may also find yourself triggered by people who are pushy about their beliefs in a way that can come off as insulting to one's intelligence. And what I mean by this is those who may be willfully ignorant to scientific evidence or scientific study. And at the same time, accepting really miraculous events or circumstances that are supported by their religion. Some religions actually do borrow rituals, important dates, or even core beliefs from spiritual or pagan traditions, while at the same time condemning those belief systems. Religion in general being used to sow division among people versus bringing people closer together. Once you know why you are triggered by religion, then you can take that as part of your spiritual path and part of the spiritual work that you need to do within yourself, because any of your triggers are showing you where you need to commune with yourself, get to know yourself better, understand the aspects of yourself that you might be judging, the aspects of others that you might be judging, and any of those aspects within you or others that you may be rejecting. We always want to move closer to unconditional love, which is an incredibly challenging thing sometimes. Remember that someone else's spiritual path is really none of your business. And while you may have a good intention and you want to liberate people from beliefs that you feel are foolish, it's not your place to decide that those beliefs are foolish for them. Those beliefs may be foolish to you, but for them, that may be exactly what they need at that point in their life. And so it's really important to respect each and every person's individual path. And also recognize you are not likely to change anybody's mind. Just like if someone's going to come and preach their religion to you, they're probably not going to change your mind about your beliefs. It feels exactly the same when you go and want to preach your beliefs to someone else, or try to convince someone to believe something that they're just not on board with. It feels the same. And very often what happens during a spiritual awakening, people have all kinds of ideas and they're excited and they want to share this feeling with their friends and family who they love. It's a good intention, but then it falls flat because it comes off as preaching, and you can end up alienating friends and family instead of bringing them closer and instead of waking them up. So recognize people come to spiritual awakening when they're ready. They'll come on their own, and people approach all aspects of their lives from the level of consciousness at which they are at. That is not a judgmental statement, it's a fact. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with being at a different level of consciousness than someone else. It doesn't make anybody better or anybody worse. So I just want to leave you with that. I hope that these questions and this self-reflection will help you get to the bottom of any triggers that you have around religion and will help you let it go. This is a little bit of tough love in that you really do have to do the work yourself to become okay with others' expression in terms of religion. And I understand the trigger, and I understand the anger, and I understand the resentment totally and completely. But I promise you that if you can overcome that, you're going to find so much more peace and communion with your fellow human beings. And being able to take other people's belief system in a really open-hearted way is a really liberating and freeing experience. It's so nice to be able to step into another person's spiritual expression, religion, whatever, and just respect it for what it is. For example, when I go to church, for instance, and I hear words like God or Jesus, I have my own interpretation of what those energies relate to. So I'm not offended. If anything, I can be in that energy and I can just enjoy the loving spiritual communion of a group of people. And it doesn't have to align specifically with my beliefs. I know what my beliefs are, and they're certainly not threatened by any religions. And that's the other thing I would hope to leave you with in this video, is recognizing that religion doesn't threaten your beliefs. Our beliefs don't have to threaten religions either, but that all comes down to those flawed humans, and we can't help but have judgment toward each other sometimes. But I hope that this video helps to alleviate some of that. And if you're struggling with this in your spiritual awakening, first of all, just know it's totally normal, and so many people go through that. And coming through the other side feels really good. So, and I know that it maybe feels good and empowered to have that anger and to have that frustration towards religion. And if that's where you're at, honor it, but honor it, feel it, release it, let it go, because it's not going to serve you in the long run. Okay, that's all I have for you on this topic. I hope that this video was informative and helpful and that you found it interesting. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, share with your friends, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about religion, what you think about religion versus spirituality, or even your own experiences. I'd love to hear. And it definitely helps me out with the algorithm, especially since I've been away for such a long time. Thank you so much for watching. Blessings to everyone, and I will see you next time. Oh my God, I forgot. See, I'm super rusty. If you want to learn more about my practice, you can visit tarotbyseraphim.ca. You can also visit me on Facebook, Tarot by Seraphim Facebook page. And you can join the Empowered Empath Facebook group, and I'm going to link to all that stuff in the description below for you. Okay, for real this time. Thank you so much for watching. Blessings, and I'll catch you guys next time. And I mean, spirituality is all people think like solemn, but it doesn't have to be. Spirituality should be lighthearted and fun and playful. And if you approach spirituality that way, then very often you can engage with it a little bit more fully, right? When you're thinking of spirituality as this very solemn thing, it becomes a little stodgy, but it doesn't have to be that way.